Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to Talking Reds. And we have a big week in store. Champions League tomorrow night against Atletico Madrid. And at the weekend, to finish off a big week, is the Merseyside Derby with Liverpool against Everton. So we have got a big week. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss in today's this morning episode, Talking Morning Reds episode. So make sure you do get in the chat, get your comments in as we are here. And I know Naj was already in already. Good morning, Naj. How are you doing? And make sure you do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already for your latest Liverpool news, transfer news, and much more. So yeah, big week for Liverpool this week. Champions League returns. Atletico Madrid at home. And the last time we played Atletico Madrid was 2020. We were knocked out of the Champions League by them. That was a night to forget, certainly, because of the keeper mistakes. But yeah, it's been a good season so far. 4 wins from 4, despite not particularly playing well at all. But at the end of the day, yeah, it does. All that matters is the simple fact that there's 3 points on the board, and 3 points is the only thing that matters in general. So, but we are going to discuss Arne Slot. We are going to discuss tactics. We are going to discuss. Is there any worries about what's going in? Going into games with what's going on right now? We're not playing particularly well at all, but we're still getting those results, and that's all that matters in the end. And we said at the beginning of the season, look, Arne Slot's going to find different ways of getting. Arne Slot's going to find different ways of getting results, and no matter how we play, no matter how different tactics, different ways of playing, different formations, different players playing, as long as we get those 3 points on the board, it doesn't really matter. But I do think there needs to be improvements in performance. Certainly, individual performance. We're going to speak about that. Who needs to improve massively? What would Slot do this week? Is he going to change it up a little bit? Is he going to drop players that he doesn't usually drop? Is he going to bring players in that maybe deserve to start having little cameos here and there that are playing very well when they're coming on the pitch? What's he going to do going into this week? So make sure you do get your comments in. What are your thoughts on this week? We played them the after. Oh yeah, we did 2022. We did. You are right. We are right. We did. That was a group game, wasn't it, Naj? Sure, we played them a group game, didn't we? We didn't play them knockout. But the last knockout game we played was 2020, wasn't it? Yeah. Back, I guess it will be the same lineup, said Naj. So we're going to go over that, actually. And I was trying to go over individual performance as well, first and foremost. Regarding the back line, obviously, Kirkes has not started well at all in his Liverpool season. It happens. Look, at the end of the day, this is why we kept Robertson. And it is very important to keep Andy Robertson because in a game like this against Atletico Madrid, even at the weekend against Everton, it's a big game. I think Andy Robertson is going to be very, very important. I think his experience could be very important. And it's okay to drop a Kirkes at this point in time. If Kirkes at the weekend was rightly brought off by Arne Slot, made the right decision on that. I think Arne Slot made a couple of bad choices at the weekend, but that was one correct one. He absolutely got spot on. He brought Kirkes off when he was a liability and ended up winning the game because of not, having a player that's on a yellow card for the rest of the game is a very risky situation. So he did the right thing by bringing him off. And will he drop him though? That's the question. Arne Slot doesn't stand for poor performance. Arne Slot doesn't stand for liability players. And he's seen how brutal he can be and how he does change things up quite quickly. I think this week we could see Kirkes certainly be dropped to the bench for Andy Robertson. Robertson played very well when he came on. I thought he was one of the bright sparks of the game. First person, our left back, to have a shot on target for a start off. So it wouldn't surprise me as Naj says here, for me, Robert plays the next 2 games. But, starts the game. So I agree with that, Naj. I absolutely agree with that. I think he does start the games. Certainly the Atletico Madrid game. We'll see how the game goes. And if he has a good game, obviously he'll probably start the weekend. But if he doesn't have a good game, then he might be back onto Kirkes. But I do believe Andy Robertson does start tomorrow for me personally. Looking at the back line as well, I just want to go over something that also we've seen Iber Kanate online in the last 12 hours, I'd say 24 hours. He'd be replying to Anfield Sector online saying, it's only 2 games, so not happy what Anfield Sector said. Then he also thanked David Lynch for his comments about Ibrahima Konate. And the thing people forget is players can have bad games, and that's the situation. And Ibrahima Konate rightly deserves criticism for the 2 games I played against Bournemouth and Newcastle. But since then, he has bounced back, and he's had 2 brilliant games so far. And you can't just write players off for me in the space of 2 games. At the end of the day, we know what Konate can do. He's one of the best centre-backs in world football. What's going on behind the scenes is what's going on behind the scenes. As long as he plays well on that pitch and gives it his all, then I'm happy with whatever happens. At the end of the day, he doesn't owe Liverpool anything going forward. If he leaves at the end of the season, then good luck to him. But as long as he gives his all this season and does the best he can this season, I'm happy with that for me personally. What I would like off the pitch, if I'm honest, is a bit of honesty. And I said that the other day. Look, if Ibrahima Konate came out right now and said, "Look, this is my last season at Liverpool. I'm going to go to a new challenge," and then I'd say, "Look, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Thank you for your time you've been here. You've been brilliant when you have played. Just this season, give it your all and leave on a high." And that's all you can ask for a player. No one is obliged to stay at Liverpool. I've said that many, many times. No one is obliged to stay at Liverpool. Ibrahima Konate doesn't have to stay at Liverpool. It doesn't have to stay at Liverpool. And people saying, "Oh, well, if he's playing like that, sell him." He's one of the best centre-backs in the world. We're forgetting this here. Yes, he has moments of lapse of moments. Who doesn't? You got to bear in mind as well, we haven't got a proper defensive midfielder. Gravenberch is still, for me, a number 8, and he proved that the weekend with his driving runs going forward. He does much more going forward than what people might think here. Put a defensive-minded midfielder in front of that back line, and it becomes more stable instantly. Put Gravenberch next to him, perfect, absolutely perfect. And Konate and Van Dijk have both had moments where they are shaky, but it doesn't matter. As long as they recover from that quickly, which Konate absolutely has. The first 2 games, yes, he made mistakes, but the second 2 games after that, Arsenal, the toughest games you could say. Arsenal, the toughest game, and then he got Burnley. Against Burnley, he blocked everything, literally stopped everything happening. Him and Van Dijk were sensational, and then against Arsenal again, them 2 were, for me, 2 of the man of matches in that game, alongside Szoboszlai. And it's easy to, and I'm not saying don't criticise players. Absolutely, I'm the first one to criticise anyone. I criticised Slot the other day, and Slot's for me the best manager for us as a Liverpool fan. He's the best manager for us, but it doesn't mean that they can't get criticised. But let's not go overboard with certain things. If he's playing like this, he can go. Like what? You can have bad games. Players have bad games. Humans are humans. And if you criticise them for that game, absolutely. But don't just say, "Oh, that's it, you can go now," after that a couple of games. Just that, for me, that's really overreactionary. And I think what a lot of people try to do online, though, is try to get clips and try to get views and try to get clicks and try. Even if it's negative, negative does provide more clicks. It really does. But you got to believe what you're saying. I think a lot of people say things just to. It's like a bandwagon sort of thing. Have your own opinion and stick by it. And don't, at the end of the day, don't overreact to certain things. Like we right now, Salah's having a bad season. We can be honest about that. But it doesn't mean that is finished or is done. At the end of the day, Salah's the best player in the world. We can criticise him for his performances and things like that, but for me, still the best player in the world. Last season, he was the best player in the world and should be winning that Ballon d'Or. You don't just turn poor overnight. Salah will come good. Absolutely. Florian Wirtz. People saying, "Oh, what a waste of money." Rivals will be saying, "What a waste of money." He'll come good. He'll come good. It just needs to start clicking. things need to change. I think tactics need to change a little bit, maybe, to get the best out of Salah's not, I don't think, too wide at the moment. I think tactics need to change maybe to get the best out of Florian Wirtz as well. But it's absolutely fine. I believe in Slot. I believe in Florian Wirtz. I believe in Mohamed Salah. I believe in Hima Kante. I believe in these players because they've done it and they've proven it. And that's the thing. Yes, we can criticise them, but giving up on them is something that I can't align to because they've proven it before. You base on your experiences. I base my opinion on experiences. And the reason why, like, many fans, including me, like, if Nunes goes, it's absolutely fine because at the end of the day, he hasn't proved it in the last 3 years to know that he's consistent enough. Konate's proved it to me how good he can be. And in most of the games, he does play well. Salah has more than proven it to anyone. So anyone doubting Salah, doubt him at your peril because he's more than proven it to anyone. Last season, everyone written him off. A lot of people wanted him gone. A lot of people wanted Mohamed Salah gone last year. And he had the season of his life. He had the best season he's ever had. Ballon d'Or season. A lot of people are writing Florian Wirtz off right now. You can't write players off like this. This guy's adjusting to a new league. Yes, Ekatika's hit the ground running in this league, but doesn't mean anyone. People are different. Different players are different. I think at some point, when it starts clicking for Florian Wirtz, it will click into gear. And yeah, I don't ever, at the end of the day, if Konate leaves at the end of the season, absolutely fine. But I want him to stay, personally. I want him to stay because him and if a Mark Guehi came in, it's perfect competition for each other. Whoever plays the best out of both of them, for me, starts. And that's how it should be. It's like Ekatike Isak. Both are good enough to start the games, but whoever plays the best out between the both has to start. And that's how football should be. The elite football should be. It should be, fighting for your place. And I think Konate, with competition, would even get even better for me. I think this going into the season, though, going into this week, sorry, not this season, going into this week, I think things do need to change slightly. Maybe a shake-up in the lineup. For me, the back line, obviously, I would drop Kirkes going into this week. And I would personally start playing Frimpong on tomorrow. And I'll tell you why, because Atletico Madrid are going to set up pretty much like Burnley did. And when we saw Frimpong and Rio and Gamora come on, we saw some more direct play. We saw a bit of flair, and it panicked Burnley. But the issue with Frimpong and Gamora coming on at the weekend was they came on way too late. They came on the 88th minute, and that's not enough to change a game. It did sort of change the game because Frimpong got the cross, but it was Hannibal put his hand up that basically changed that game rather than Frimpong's cross. But Frimpong and Ngamoa are two players I've been looking at starting this week because of how direct they are now, how they can change things up. And against a low block like that, it worked because it was easy. Players that are unpredictable are better against low block teams because they don't know what they're doing. Low block teams are set up a certain way. Two back fives. Okay, or back four and a back five. And when they came up at the weekend, we saw Soboslai right back, who's not a natural right back. When he went to midfield, the whole game changed. When Gakpo being a bit predictable on the right, he's going to cut inside and shoot. He's going to cut inside to shoot. Burnley were lapping that up. And Burnley were like, okay, we know what you're going to do. Cut inside and shoot is absolutely fine by me. When Frimpong and Rayon Gamora came on, both of them did something different. And you see Frimpong and Gamora, they'll run down the wings, but sometimes they'll cut inside, sometimes they'll make a cross. They're not predictable. And that's what breaks low block teams down. Because that's when low block teams are thinking, they're trying to think different things. They're trying to, how we're going to stop him doing this. We're not knowing what he's going to do next. And low block teams are set up to be against predictable tactics. And that's why Burnley got away with it most of the game, because we were predictable in attack. We're going to either cut inside and shoot, or we're going to pass around, or cross from a deeper role. There was never any chance. There never one time I think I saw Gakpo run to the bar line. Kyle Walker didn't like that, but he did it once in the entire 90 minutes. You can't. It was like we were playing into Burnley's hands at the weekend. Our crosses were coming from deep. They weren't coming from, like I said, the byline. They weren't going out wide down on near the corner flag or down near the left-hand side corner flag. They're coming from deep. So all Burnley had to do is set up, get everyone in the box, get the tall players in the box, and just mark everyone out of the box. That's where the crosses are coming from. Or we were cutting inside and shooting. There were nothing different. There were no passes from the middle, trying to get in behind. There were no passes from out wide, trying to, cut backs or anything like that. There was nothing like that. And that's where the Atletico Madrid game is going to be quite similar to Burnley. Even worse, because Atletico Madrid are 10 times better than Burnley. They're 10 times more stubborn than Burnley. And they're much better on the counter-attack. Burnley had many, many chances at the weekend on the counter-attack, but they just didn't have the personnel to do anything with it. They kept giving the ball away when they're on the counter-attack. Atletico Madrid do. Okay, they might have not Julian Alvarez. We're going to discuss that shortly, because Julian Alvarez might be a doubt for the game. But they do have players like Alexander Soloff and Anton Griezmann, who can hurt teams on the counter-attack, and Koke, who can play passes that will break teams down on the counter-attack. Atletico Madrid are 10 times better than Burnley. So this is why I'm saying play Frimpong, not just in attack, but I'm just saying in terms of the counter-attacking side of things. Frimpong's got the pace to recover and help Konate and Van Dijk out, because we can't leave Konate and Van Dijk fully alone. Like I said, Atletico Madrid are very, very dangerous on the counter-attack. Morning, Prakash. How are you doing well, my friend? I think Maka is rested. Bradley and Robertson start. Frimpong on second half. Oh, you say Bradley at right back. I would personally play Frimpong because of that counter-attacking ability that Atletico Madrid will be playing. I think it'd suit Frimpong a little bit more in this game. Just for simple that counter-attacking side and the attacking side that he brings as well. What he brought at the weekend, him and Engamoa, what they brought at the weekend, something different, a bit of drive at a player. Because when players like Frimpong and Engamoa drive at players, what that does is it attracts attention and it creates space. You need players that are direct to create space. Averts usually creates space because he's direct and runs at players, but we haven't seen that much this season already. Gravenberch running at players. What Gravenberch did, that box to box Gravenberch that I want to see, is he drove at that box, and when he drives at the box, he attracts players around him, and that's where we got our main attacks from. The 1-2 with Kirkes. Engamo coming on at the end. Where do we get probably one of the best chances we had all game was Frimpong's shot, where he should have shot first time, really. But that was because Rio Ngamoa ran at a defender. And he ran at a defender, and it attracted everyone's eyes. And they forgot Frimpong's at the back post. We need players like that in a game like this. Yes, Ngamoa's not going to have space to use his pace, and Frimpong's not going to have space to use his pace. But what they have is they have direct runs at fullbacks, and they have different ways of attacking the team. They don't just cut inside all the time. They go to the byline. They make defenders think differently and think, what are they going to do? Defenders don't like that. Low block teams do not like that, because low block teams want to come up against predictable teams. And Burnley could, Burnley could have done that all. If that stayed the same, if Engamoa didn't come on and Frimpong didn't come on, Burnley could have played another 90 minutes like that and kept us out, because we were predictable. It's like, are you going to cut inside and shoot? Or are you going to cross from deep? We'll stand here, and we'll block your shot from you cutting inside, or we'll just stand in the box and clear your cross. It's easy to predict, and Atletico Madrid are going to do that. Atletico Madrid are going to do exactly the same thing if we play the same way. We can't play the same way, and that's the thing. Yes, we can start with the same team, but we can't play the same way. We need to start being unpredictable in attack and not as slow. And people say, "Nah, do you play fast against low blocks teams?" It's having players like Rio and Gamora that are direct. It's having just quick, even if you're passing around the box, quicker passing, because you're not giving the defense enough time to think. The defense, if you're slowing the game down, the defense is set there and thinking, "But it's just attack-based defense. We can do this. We do this in training." If you're playing slow passes and not doing different movements, doing triangles and things like that, then defenses like Burnley, defenses like Atletico Madrid can sit there and say, "Just pass it round. This is fine. We'll just move over as a unit. We'll move over that. So if you pass it to that side, we'll move over together. We'll mark everyone in the box, and we'll just block your shots." We need to start doing things that are different, and that for me comes down to tactics. I think obviously Salah's too wide. I think Salah needs to start coming inside more. And again, I think that the introduction of Frimpong on that side would be perfect for that. Frimpong can be the width. Salah coming into the box will have people. They'll have teams panicking. If Salah starts coming inside more into that box and overloading that box with Ekitike in there, it creates space. It brings the fullbacks in, and then Frimpong or Robertson, whoever's on the left-hand side, can attack that space. This is what we need to do off the ball. Salah and Gakpo need to become more inside in this game tomorrow. They absolutely do. It's going to be domination of the ball for Liverpool. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be set up a bit like Burnley. It's going to be set up the same way. So we need to play differently. Because we don't win that game. We didn't beat Burnley by tactics. We didn't beat Burnley by breaking them down. We beat Burnley because Annabelle did that. That's why we beat Burnley. Yes, eventually it was just a moment of lapse, a lapse moment. Yes, it was over and over again, attacking. But that's what Burnley wanted. Burnley wanted that. We can't do the same thing against Atletico Madrid. We are going to dominate that ball. So what we need to do is make Atletico Madrid think differently. And by doing that, having a player like Frimpong, even like if Frimpong doesn't start, we've got to start Engamoa on the left wing, because we need players that can be direct at the fullbacks. We need players that can do different things rather than cutting inside or crossing from deep. We need something different. Engamoa can do it all. From what I've seen of Engamoa, he can cut inside and shoot. We've seen it in pre-season. Had a brilliant goal in pre-season, cutting inside. But what Engamoa does as well, he runs to the byline. He takes players on. And when you take one player on, someone else has got to come out in position to cover that. That's football. And this is where I come when I talk about creating space. This is what players like Engamoa and Frimpong do. They create space because they're direct. If Engamoa takes one player on, and another player's got to come out of position and stop marking their player to come out and stop him getting that cross in. It creates space by bringing players towards him. And this is why I wanted. This is why I think the signing of Florian Wirtz is fantastic. I think Florian Wirtz can do the same thing. If Florian Wirtz gets the ball and runs at players, it creates space because people they have to tackle him. They've got to, as a footballer, you're saying as a centre back, you're seeing your DM get beaten. You've got to forget the striker next to you. You've got to get out to that player that's got the ball. He's the one that's going about to shoot. He's the one that's got all the, someone else has got to cover that. You've got to, it's like a reaction sort of thing, but you've got to do it because the player that's got the ball is the one that's most dangerous. Because if he's got a shot on him, he can score from outside the box. He can just carry on dribble into space if no one marks him. So for me, I would be starting a Frimpong. I would be starting maybe a Rio Gamora possibly because of the fact that it's going to be the exact same as Burnley, but better. And I think we need to play differently. And I think we need players that are unpredictable that can drive at defences and attract players to create space. For me personally, but like I said, I trust Arne Slot massively to make the right decisions. If he goes for the same team again, Arne Slot, then it wouldn't surprise me if he did. If he went for the same team, Kirkers on the left, Gakpo on the left. Played. I don't think he'll play Maka. I don't think he can play Maka, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did play Maka. I would personally put Frimpong. I put Szoboszlai in midfield with Gomberts, and I stick with Wirtz. I think Wirtz has got definitely something about it. He's improving slightly. Wirtz. I think he improved slightly when Szoboszlai went into midfield at the weekend, And that's why, the reason why is because Szoboszlai's a runner and McAllister's not fully fit yet, I don't think. And it allows more freedom for Wirtz to do his thing. Tony said, I find our football and sort far too much passing ball to death. We need to pick up the pace without of our gameplay, and Gakpo needs to catch the bench. I do agree with that. I do agree with that, Tony. I do think that Arne Slot overplays a little bit. And like I said, it's this season we have relied a lot on late goals, and I think regarding the first two games, I think Arne Slot won those games by going for it, and we got the results. But the second two games, we relied on the moment of brilliance from Szoboszlai. We didn't look like scoring at all. And against Burnley, with a couple of chances, that's about it. We had 80% of the ball, and we created like a couple of chances. That's it in the 90-minute game. Yes, it's a low block, but you got to find ways to beat low blocks. If we can't find a way to beat up low block, then every team's going to play like that. And then the thing is, if a team like Brighton plays that against us, they beat us because they have better players going forward in those counter-attacks. If a team like Atletico Madrid plays us tomorrow and plays like Burnley did, they'll beat us because they've got better players in those counter-attacks that can do better with the ball, that Burnley didn't do. Because Burnley should have scored at the weekend. They had a couple of chances to go on good counter-attacks, but they couldn't play the ball properly. We can't, if we're saying, like, if we're going into after game saying, it's a low block, we can't, what else are you expected to do against low blocks? You've got to find different ways. You can't just say, we can't, because they played a low block, that's why we struggled. We've got a fucking world-class team. If we can't find a way to beat a low block without a player doing that, then that's a problem. It is. Because every team's going to play like that against us. And they've just got better players, better personnel to punish us for it. Players like Engamoa, players like Frimpong, unpredictable players that can do different things, need to play games like this, play the low block games. Yes, a Frimpong would be good in an open game because he's got the pace. But what we need in an open game is a bit more energy, I think. But in games like this, we don't need energy as such. We don't need energy in the midfield. What we need in a game like this is unpredictability. What we need in a game like this is someone that can be direct at the fullbacks, that can create, and have well-drilled defenses thinking differently. Because if we set up the same way we did against Burnley, like I've just been saying, if we set up the same way against Burnley and we play the same way, it's going to be worse because Atletico Madrid are 10 times better than Burnley and they've got players on the counter-attack that can hurt us. Burnley didn't. That's the thing for me. I think it can be a dangerous game, but we can only make it dangerous ourselves for me. But yeah, me personally, I play Frimpong at the thing. And I think regarding Isak, I think he will be on the bench. Hopefully, he's on the bench because again, in games like this against Atletico Madrid, we need a player that comes up with a moment of chances. There won't be many clear-cut chances. So to have Alexander Isak on the bench for the last 20 minutes is perfect because if we're not giving many clear-cut chances and he gets one of the clear-cut chances, he finishes them. And that's the importance. That's why I thought it was important to take Alexander Isak at the weekend. Not to play in 60 minutes, not to play in 45 minutes. No chance. He ain't playing. But those last 5-10 minutes, Alexander Isak, all he would have done at the weekend was stand in the box. And any chances come to him, he's the best player in our club for a chance to come to him. It wouldn't have been... People say, no, he'd have been injured. Why would he be injured? Stood there in the box for 5-10 minutes. He wouldn't have been injured. If he got injured in that game, Alexander Isak, 5-10 minutes, that's just sheer unlucky. There's nothing to do with because we played him for 5-10 minutes. We'll captain Burnley's box. All he had to do is stand there and pick up pieces if it came to him. That's all he had to do. And like I said yesterday, he's the best player in our club to have half a chance. He's the best finisher ever at the club now. I know he's on just signed, but he's the best finisher ever at the club right now. But yeah, it is going to be a hard game. But I just hope we play differently to do against Burnley because if we play the same way against Burnley, if we play the same way against Atletico Madrid that we did against Burnley, then we're in trouble, because Atletico Madrid is 10 times better than Burnley, much more stubborn, much more well drilled, and they've got players on counter attack that can hurt us. That's a difference. It's going to be an interesting game, though. It's going to be an interesting week. I love when Champions League comes out. It feels surprising that the Champions League's here so early. You know, I know it feels like we've only played like a few games, and the Champions League's here already. I think it's with the international break that don't help it at all. But yeah, guys, make sure you do get your comments in. What's your thoughts going into this week? Should Arne Slot be a bit more ruthless in attack? Should Arne Slot be a bit more changing things up this week? Potentially bring some new players on. Do you think Kirkus deserves dropping? Do you think? For me, with Garden Salah, look, he's had a poor season, but there's no one better that I have faith in than Mohamed Salah. He's the best player in the world for me. And like I said yesterday, if he's half of what he was last season, I'm happy. Because last season he set standards so high that is it really fair to compare Salah to last season? Because he set standards so high that even his previous seasons weren't as that good. That's how. But I think with Salah, it'll come good. I think we need to start being a bit more faster. I think again, what I said earlier, what could get the best out of Salah is having someone else that brings that width. Because Salah out wide right now, the way Salah plays right now, is not really a wide player. I'd rather Salah and whoever's on the left wing come inside and flood that box with Ekatiko, with an Isak. I'd have them flood that box. And the width, and this is what we spoke about before the season, the width needs to come from the fullbacks. But then you're looking at do we have enough cover defensively? And that's where the DM comes in, a defensive-minded DM comes in. But I think tomorrow, I do think it will be a pretty similar game to Burnley, but harder. So for me, it needs to change up. I think we need Frimpong on the right. We need someone on the left that can bomb down that wing and bring Salah inside, because we need to start getting the best out of Salah. And bringing Salah inside, is that going to create problems for Wirtz? Wirtz has a free role. Wirtz can go out wide. Wirtz can come out right. Wirtz can have that free role there. With McAllister's, I don't think we have no choice but to play Wirtz, because with McAllister's fitness at the moment, I think Szoboszlai has to play midfield. I don't want to be shocked and see McAllister play tomorrow. It's not fair on McAllister he can't play it. He can't play that many minutes. If you're talking about Isak being slowly put in, I think McAllister needs to be slowly brought back in as well, because he played 90 minutes for Argentina where he had no need to play that 90 minutes. And then at the weekend again, he got a poor tackle. No, I say poor tackle. I think it was a good challenge, but he did get hurt in that. And yes, he's stubborn. He wants to play on. He's a footballer. Adrenaline's rushing. He wants to play on. But at the end of the day, we've got to look after him. For me, he's our most complete midfielder. We've got to make sure McAllister is fit enough to play these games. The games are going to get thick and fast now. The games are coming thick and fast. We've got Champions League, we've got 2 games a week, 3 games within a week. And we need McAllister fit for these games, because we've got big games coming up. We've got obviously Atletico Madrid this week. We've got the Merseyside Derby. Then we've got the Cup against Southampton, which probably will be a day of resting players like that. But then we've got Crystal Palace, Galatasaray, and Chelsea away. Then we've got Man United and Frankfurt. We've got some tough games coming up. And it's 3 games a week, pretty much. Well, 2 games a week, but like over a space of a week, or like week and a day, it's 3 games. Did you know that they've changed next year international to September, October in 16 days? Is that what they've done, Prack? I've not read that, actually. I've not read that at all. I've not read that at all. So that means, how many weeks is that into the season, though, Prakash? Because obviously we've played 3 games and it's international break. Have they done it a little bit later, I presume? So August into 16 days. So do we play like 4 games next year, or 5 games before the international break? Which is interesting. You know what? I think that's better, because 3 games into the season and it's international break, that makes no sense to me at all. For me personally, that makes 0 sense. It absolutely does. It feels like, you start the season, you've only just started the season and it's international break. For me, it makes no sense. They've got also a big game out the weekend against Everton as well. I think tomorrow is the changes that need to be made for Arne Slot. Make those changes tomorrow, and if, like I said, if Robertson plays well tomorrow, it starts again at the weekend. If he does start, if Frimpong plays well tomorrow, he starts again at the weekend. I would make the changes tomorrow, see how it does against Atletico Madrid, and if whoever plays best plays at the weekend for me. It is a tough game against Everton. They are much more well drilled now. They're a good side now, Everton, very unpredictable. But at Anfield, we should be winning. We should be beating Everton. We should be beating both these teams this week. But they're not easy games at the same time. Like we should, people say, "Oh, this is why I went into the Burnley game," and I was honest. I said, "Look, it's not going to be an easy game." But you'll have Liverpool fans online saying, "Oh, it's a 3-4-0, 5-0. This is Burnley a crap." Football doesn't work like that, and Burnley setting up like that is never going to be a 4-5-0. It's never going to be a 4-5-0. The tackle on Maka was a red card. I don't think it was, Prakash. Honestly, mate. Honestly, it wasn't. It wasn't a red card. He didn't lift his foot up. His foot was down. It was just a simple foul yellow card. In the games I play football, but it's not even a foul. It's not even a foul. But in the Premier League right now, it's a foul and a yellow card. There's nothing more than that for me. He got the ball. It was just a follow through. He did sometimes follow throughs. They lift the leg up after the follow through to intently hurt someone, or they put maybe more power in their follow through to hurt someone. But I don't think he did that. I just think it was just a simple accident. He got through the ball and he just caught McAllister on the ankle. It's a foul, it's a yellow card. That's it. Football's a contact sport. We can't get rid of the contact. It's just like I said, the games I play in, it's not even a foul. It's not even a foul. Slot needs to give Rio a start. Let the young boy take on players with energy. Bring some different to Gakpo. Badly, I think Pang had to start. No more Soba right back. Soba needs to be in midfield. It needs to be in midfield. He's been brilliant at right back, but when you have a right back, that's a right back. They need to play them in their proper places. September, October breaks from next year. We both merged into a 16-day window. Oh, so all right, okay. So they're going to play like 4 games instead of 2 games then. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So basically, instead of playing 2 games of internationals and having more Premier League games and then playing 2 more games of internationals, it's all going to be put into one break. So there'll be like 4 games, won't they? They'll play like 4 games, which makes more sense because it's more sense for the internationals teams and the managers internationally because they can work more with a team and they can get some momentum going. Because once you play 1 game and then 2 games, it's done. It's better for international teams, but then it's also better for clubs because you're not breaking up every 2 seconds. You're not breaking the league up. You got your 3-4 games, break, and then you come back and play rest of games until whenever, like February or whatever. That's better. I think that works much more. I'll read it afterwards. I will read it afterwards. One thing that came out this morning as well, last night, was the Hillsborough law, which is finally getting put into place. And the fight for the Hillsborough law has been a long one. And finally, the government is listening, and hopefully it will put it into place on when is it? It could be introduced in Parliament today. So it's potentially introduced in Parliament today, the Hillsborough law, which is fantastic news. Fantastic news for the fight that's been put into this. And no more of this delaying it. And Keir Starmer's, last time he delayed it and he didn't go to the meeting and it was not good at all. But finally, Keir Starmer's done something good here and is bringing the Hillsborough law into the Parliament today. Hopefully it gets the vote. Fingers crossed. And the fight for it has been a long one, but this is why you've got to fight for what's right. This is what you've got to fight for what's right. So Hillsborough now have released a statement on that as well. So I'm going to go over that statement. So the Hillsborough law will deliver the change that those failed by the state in the cruelest of ways have long demanded and even longer deserved. From Hillsborough to Grenfell to nuclear test veterans, from affected blood scandals, all that state so far has fails victims and even worse, makes their tragedies worse by smears and lies and cover-ups. So no more of that. We've failed victims in tragedies like this for a long, long time in this country. And the lies and the cover-ups makes it 10 times worse. What the families and the friends of the Hillsborough disaster had to go through was so unacceptable. Not only did they have to fight for this, they fight for a long, long time, and then finally that fight is coming to good, and the Hillsborough law needs to be put in place. And hopefully today it does get the votes in Parliament, and it's finally going through Parliament today, and hopefully it gets the votes to come and become a law, because it can't happen again. Things like this can't happen again. Not only the tragedies not happening again, but the lies and the smears and the cover-ups is absolutely disgusting. And people need to be accountable for what that is. And Hillsborough coming in is fantastic news. And well done to those that have fought for it for so long. Well done for those that have fought for it so long. You absolutely deserve this today. Hopefully it does come into place. It does get voted into place by Parliament. But yeah, that is good for that to come in. So yeah, make sure you do, guys, enjoy your week. This week, like I said, tonight we've got a preview for the Atletico Madrid game tomorrow. To preview tonight at 7:00. Tomorrow, we're hopefully doing a watch long for the game as well. Hopefully doing a watch long. I just need to get a few things sorted for that. And again at the weekend, hopefully a watch long for the Everton game as well. But make sure you do join us at Talking Reds for everything Liverpool. Make sure you do it for your Liverpool news, for your transfer news, for everything Liverpool, all the Liverpool content, watch alongs, previews, anything you want as a Liverpool fan. Talking Reds is that channel for you. So make sure you do hit that like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Have a good day, guys. I'll speak to you all tonight for the match preview.